Hey everybody, hello and welcome you all again to this another episode of the podcast Future of Web. Within it, we are currently running Metaverse Marathon, where we get a lot of Metaverse projects, showcase their capabilities, how they are solving certain problems, and how they're leveraging new technologies. So today again we have another project. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But why we're running this podcast called the Future of Web. So this started as an initiative to clear a lot of air about technologies. What we do is especially in Web3, there was a lot of noise around it. So I started bringing a lot of founders, builders, investors, developers, designers who are building or doing something within Web3 space, either through NFT marketplaces, as community managers, as metaverse creators, and talk about that. So to clear a lot of air, make sure that right information goes out. So that was the initiative around uh, the podcast Future of Web. My name is Alek. I am the host and founder of the company called Animo Solution, which is a Web3 focused design and development agency. We do a lot of cool stuff. You can check our LinkedIn page or website. Moving on. So today we have with us Vikrant, who is the creator in chief of Convrse, the platform which we are going to be seeing today. They are enabling the next generation of 3D creators to build the metaverse. Converse is democratizing 3D content creation by simplifying, this highly technical process. It takes a lot of effort to create a 3D model and understand technology behind it. So they're trying to simplify that. They're also enabling individual creators with powerful tools to build and share interactive 3D content, which currently only production studios or professional 3D artists are able to produce. I can totally vouch for that. So what Canva did for graphic design and TikTok did for video creation, they are trying to do for 3D spaces. Let's go ahead and welcome Vikrant. Hello Vikrant, how are you?
Hi Alec, I'm good. How are you?
Very well. How are you doing? How are things? I see
Things are great.
you are.
Things are great. Building a lot of tools for 3D designers to ship at scale. So very excited to be on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're just going to get started. So why did you, Vikrant, decide to build Converse? Let's just start with that first.
So see, broadly we were largely 3D designers ourselves, where we used to build a lot of custom 3D content
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of enterprises, a lot of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
After 200 odd projects, what we realized was that once we complete a project, almost
Uh-huh.
everything that we have built in the past goes to waste, and we have to start afresh. And owing to this, we
Mm-hmm.
had a unused library of over 60 million square feet of 3D virtual spaces, which were not being
Okay.
utilized. Now, given the kind of momentum the metaverse space has and the volume of 3D content being created and consumed all over the world,
Uh-huh.
3D designers were not multiplying at the same rate, and it was
Okay.
impossible to meet the demand. And commoditization was the only way to actually fulfill the needs that the world has. So, if we could find a way to productize all the 3D content that has been built and offer it as reusable assets, it made perfect sense. So, we ended up talking to hundreds of other 3D designers, hundreds of other
Mm-hmm.
studios. All of them
Mm-hmm.
had such large volumes of unutilized 3D content that it was
Mm-hmm.
very obvious to us that we need to build a place where people can make their content lightweight and metaverse ready and put it up for sales, and brands, businesses, enterprises, whoever wants to build something can pick it up and launch their next experience on top of it.
Interesting. So you also okay. So that's more like a marketplace. In a simple terms for people who don't understand metaverse and marketplaces. It's a simple marketplace where I'll go ahead, take up whatever shapes and pieces and models I have available. I mean, mind you, I'm
Yeah,
saying it very easily, but that takes a lot of effort to create those models, and especially low poly models with higher visual quality. I understand. I come from the same
absolutely.
space, so so this is
Absolutely. So,
right. So that's a lot of
normally,
effort, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, for if I'm building a surgery experience, for example,
Uh-huh.
I need a hospital environment for that. Ideally,
Yeah.
it would take me 6 weeks, and I would have to spend probably $2,000-3,000 to get that space built. If you come to Converse, browse some hospital environments, you'll get one for $200 or $300, and you can import it and start creating from the get-go. You almost save all of the time that would have potentially gone into creating that. You get to discover designs from 10 different creators with 10 different styles, and you
Mm-hmm.
purchase it, you procure your asset at 10-20% of the original cost.
Interesting. So it's easier, it's faster, and it's cost effective, right?
Correct.
And what I understand is, having a quick look at the product, what you've built, anybody who has a decent understanding of space can do it, right? You don't really need to be a
Yeah,
high-end designer,
exactly.
3D specialist, stuff like that.
Exactly. I mean, we have had designers who have spent just a year or two doing 3D design.
Yeah.
They are able to use AI to come up with novel concepts. They might use stable diffusion to
Okay.
have a visual representation of kind of theme they want to build upon, and then
Uh-huh.
use that as a reference to carve out the space.
Nice. So that's faster, So that solves a lot of problems, especially, with the metaverse hype coming into the picture and a lot of people wanting to move to metaverses quickly, right? But
Correct.
before we deep dive that aspect, which is I think the core of what we're going to discuss today, let's get to know you a little bit. Like what is Vikrant?
Okay.
Share a little bit about yourself. Something that you have not shared with anybody else, which you can obviously share on a public platform.
So I mean, the general introduction is obviously there. People can go to LinkedIn or check it online.
Yeah,
Something which I haven't shared with anyone is that, so I have spent most of my professional career building
Mm-hmm.
zero to one journeys for products, introducing
Mm-hmm.
something novel to a category of consumers which did not exist in its form earlier, and
Mm-hmm.
get people to pay for it. I have done it 3-4 times. I did it at my first job where I was doing B2B enterprise solutions for automobile. Did it with Bluetick VR where we utilized virtual reality for presenting unbuilt properties. Now doing it with
Mm-hmm.
Converse. The something secret which I haven't shared with anyone is that while I have talked to probably thousands of users while building these solutions, I strongly feel that user research is in its current form and how it's analyzed is quite overrated. Whenever you talk to your users about the problems that they face and what potential solution might help solve it, most
Mm-hmm.
of the time they're actually trying to sound intelligent, and you actually don't really get to know what it is that they might need. So that you have to be intuitive, you have to read between the lines to actually understand. So user research in its current form, I don't think it's very relevant.
Okay, so that's a very, I would say, like a contradictory statement to make as of today, because everybody's talking about design thinking, research, and talking to
Yeah,
consumers, finding out. So it's good,
right,
it's good to see that there is a different side to it as well, because anytime you meet with anybody, especially any product manager, right, they
yeah,
are doing these researches, in different shapes and forms all the time to
correct,
find a PMF. That's like product
correct,
market fit for the users who don't know what PMF is. So they're trying to find a
correct,
PMF, right? And everybody's
correct,
talking PMF. But sometimes I
correct,
think you have to do with gut feel, right?
correct, correct. No, absolutely.
So
If you ask people 100 years ago,
yeah,
how could they improve transportation, people would have said they want faster horses, right?
yes.
They wouldn't have talked about cars. So yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, so I agree. Like to some extent, I think that it's more like a Steve Jobs kind of philosophy where where I think he said in some forum, people don't really know what they need. Till the time you show them what they really can solve their
Right,
problems, right? I mean,
correct,
if at
correct.
that point in time, if Apple had gone for research, I'm not sure if they did or they did not, but I'm assuming if they
Yeah,
would have done big research, people would have had
yeah,
like bigger phones, maybe lighter phones,
correct.
faster keypads and stuff like that. But it's interesting, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. I
it's
mean,
interesting how you
Apple
think.
actually does it very well. So Apple
Yeah.
introduces their first version of the product based on their own observations and their own gut feeling, and the user
Yeah.
research and the user feedback happens after the first launch. So if you look at any of their products, the first launch has always received an average sort of a response. May it be the
Yeah.
smartwatch or the iPhone. It is subsequent version where it sort of keeps getting better and becomes the perfect solution.
Exactly, where it scales up, to where it is today.
Yeah.
Right. Nice, nice, nice. So cool. So I think that's good to know, like that's a very, very deep insight what you shared about yourself. So thank you very much for that. So let's come back to our core topic here, like you talking about metaverses, meeting so many people, right? So
Right.
how do you feel the experience of native Web2 companies, like how they are perceiving metaverse? Because I'm sure till the time mass adoption happens, which means that a lot of Web2 companies coming using metaverses, right? So how is your like in your experience their understanding and the perception of metaverses?
Right. So see, with most of the companies, uh, people are seeing it as more of a revolution than a
Mm-hmm.
evolution. People
Mm-hmm.
think of it as a completely alternate way of living or existing for people where everyone everything is in 3D all the time.
Okay.
Whereas metaverse, it's basically the evolution of our digital interactions to 3D. As technology keeps on getting better, its goal is to make our digital interactions as close as possible to our natural interactions. So from text to images to videos, if there are ways in which 3D makes your digital interactions better, it is going to be the natural progression. So that is the difference. They see at metaverse as a distant alternate reality, whereas it's a slow evolution where more and more of your time, as today we spend 10 hours of our time digitally. As we spend more time digitally, we would value our digital selves more, and our
Yeah.
digital time and digital connections more. 3D gives you a way to express yourself better, feel closer to people, and do things better in a way you cannot do in images or videos or any other 2D interactions. So that is the difference we educate them about. And we
Mm-hmm.
talk about use cases and scenarios where it can act 3D and immersive experiences in general can add tangible value and impact to their verticals.
Interesting. So I think that's a very good point that you've made, that people seeing it at a distantly, and it's a certain revolution. And I mean, in my discussion that I've had with people, uh, so most of the these innovation people, or CEOs or CTOs, they see that they'll have to do a complete overhaul of their system to enable
Correct.
anything in Web3. Either it's blockchain development, they're trying to put their products in, or getting metaverse for different use cases, could be employee onboarding and several other, training and learning and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's where I see that, there is a certain hesitation, and plus the cost factor also comes into the picture, like, and and the understanding that metaverses can only be accessed on the head mounted devices, the Oculus
Correct.
and the stuff, and not being browser. So I think that's a lot of education need to play out there, to kind of bust some myths, because only then the
Exactly.
adoption and the industry will grow. What do you think?
No, absolutely. That's exactly right. Along with education, you would want to do something which Apple is doing with their new headset. So while Meta and PlayStation have largely focused their VR headset as a break from your life to go
Mm-hmm.
and have uh, out of the world immersive experiences where you play games or watch entertainment content.
Mm-hmm.
Apple is saying with their new headset that we are introducing a new way, a better way of doing the same things that you do with your smartphone.
Yes.
So, what's important along with education is to help them take these small steps to do the same things that they've been doing with other digital devices, but better and in more meaningful ways. And once they get used to spatial computing and uh, you know uh, ways to interact with computers through their body, through their space, then you introduce
Mm-hmm.
more meaningful experiences, more meaningful content that they can consume that they could otherwise not consume on a flat device.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a very nice way of looking at it, and you've put it really beautifully. That they're trying to take a step-by-step approach. They're not saying, "Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
you don't have to change anything drastically. Just put this
yeah,
on and interact with your, like real environment as well as the visual environment." And while doing that, the headset in itself is smart enough to let the people outside know that, who are you interacting with? Are you interacting with the, like the probably the system within the headset, maybe a movie, a content or
correct.
whatever, or you're talking to them, through, I mean, that's a very smart way. But yeah, so And the price that it has launched at right now, it's still a bit of a contention. People are hoping it comes at lower price for market adoption. But yeah, anyhow, so let's.
So that's true.
So
So in terms of price, yes, the early consumers of the solution would be enterprises for sure, and enterprises would use it for interpersonal communication.
yeah,
Post the launch of the headsets, there have been so many enterprises that have come to us to explore remote employee engagement, remote onboarding, or remote get-togethers for their VPs, for their directors. Basically, one-to-one communications, remote but more interactive, is something which Apple is saying is going to be a standard. So that's what, given the price point, enterprises are exploring in general. But there's another underlying message that Apple is trying to send with the price point, is that it's a substantially better way of doing things, substantially faster, more meaningful collaborations would happen. So it's in another league. So to give you a quick example, if
mm-hmm.
if I I am used to traveling by bus or train, for example, the
Uh-huh.
day I get introduced to air travel, the prices
Uh-huh.
are going to be substantially higher, because it's a that's that that's the kind of shift that is going to be there in the experience. So initially only the cream or deep pockets might use those airplanes, but people, the masses, eventually come in and start accepting this as a better way of doing things and get comfortable with the price point. And obviously they try to bring it down in the future as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what everybody's hoping for. That this was a benchmark setup, and then the next one,
Yeah,
as they usually do, come up with a lower one. No, but it's
yeah,
interesting, how their things are transitioning and moving really fast. So even with that, so there's a lot of noise again. Who will transition, who would not transition. So in your, understanding in your journey, so who is your ideal customer? Like within the Web2 domain, who kind of reaches out to you, or you guys reach out to? Just from a perception perspective, like people who are open to this idea of using a metaverse.
right. So uh, anyone who needs to spend time with their consumers to
Uh-huh.
make the sale, or wants to unlock time with their consumers to build better relationships or build stronger relationships with them, is our customer.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Some of the examples I can take from the top of my head is, for example, real estate clients. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of real estate sales happen with the kind of conversation the sales team has with the buyer, the 15-20 minutes that they spend with the person, painting the entire picture of how great their life is going to be once they buy this property. It could be
Yes.
automobiles, it could be insurance products which need a lot of hand holding for people to sell, banking products, anything where you need to unlock time with your consumer. You can utilize this as a medium to, one, engage remote customers, and two, to utilize digital content to unlock more time with the same customer. So we have a very good case study with our real estate line of solutions, that the sales team that we have enabled with VR, they have increased the average time spent with the consumers from an average of 13 to 15 minutes to almost 25 minutes, because they stay back to watch the content, and the immersive engaging content unlock more, then hence unlocks more time for the people. So one is to get more time with your consumers, or second one is to have more meaningful internal conversations within your team. It could be remote, or it could be a remote onboarding solutions where you want to give the same feel factor, the same onboarding experience as you would have given in person. It could be a training
Mm-hmm.
experience. So if I'm running an oil refinery, if I'm an operator there, it's not possible me to train and test every scenario physically with every employee that I get on board. So to
Yes.
create such scenarios which are not physically viable, it makes perfect sense as well. So broadly, these
Absolutely.
two categories.
Fantastic. And I think that is one reason, there's a lot of digital twins coming up now, especially for big manufacturing companies. And a couple of, car manufacturers, I think Mercedes or someone else, they've already used and created one of their digital twins and, made some profit and saved a lot of money out of that as well, experience. So it is,
Correct.
always with the, the ones with the money who are ready to experiment a bit. once they become the use case, the rest of the world kind of follows, right? I mean, that's the
Absolutely.
kind of a journey. uh,
Absolutely.
cool. So, and with this tech new coming in, like, how do you think that platforms, especially like yourself, are using AI, as a enablement platform, or are they still, like, you've already cut down the building time of a metaverse, say, from about 6 weeks to few hours or probably a couple of days? Is AI enabling also going to help further reduce the time it takes to construct such stuff?
Yeah, it will, and it is already doing it. So apart from the time and cost that goes into procuring 3D content and 3D assets for your experience, the
Mm-hmm.
second biggest challenge that people feel while deploying such experiences, people face, is the overall size of the experience that they have built. Inherently, 3D content is very heavy, and running it on the web in the form of synchronous experience means you'll have to put a very large file as a web browser link. So when once you put it as a web link, you cannot really have it beyond a couple of hundreds of MBs in size. A 3D scene would normally be a GB or 2 when it's built originally.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the place where we utilize AI very comprehensively is in our proprietary compression tool. It's a neural network based compression engine which essentially has the understanding of the content it is compressing and has the
Mm-hmm.
intelligence to preserve the shape or structure which it is optimizing. Hence, most of the focus while optimizing is on the surface layer of the entire content, hence retaining the color, the details, and the overall form factor of the shape and space that it optimizes, and gets rid of the non crucial meshes, non crucial polygons from the entire scene.
Polygons, yeah. That's a
Yeah. So
fantastic, what you're saying is it's very, it's proprietary, so I can't ask much, right? Because that's what you guys have put in the effort to build. But I
yeah.
think from an effort point of view, I can totally relate. Earlier I remember, if you have to say create a scene,
Alok, you are on mute.
oh, sorry, I probably touched my mic and
Yeah.
that's got mute. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I was saying, to create any 3D model, and then first you would create the shape, and then you would further optimize it, right? And
Correct.
that would take a lot of time. So,
Right.
so to reduce, create a structure and reducing that time, I think it's commendable, right? And I think with that, we've taken a lot of
Absolutely. Absolutely.
discussion.
So
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. So legacy 3D compression tools have been dumb and iterative, in the sense that if I tell a traditional compression tool to optimize, for example, my smartphone's model by 50%, it would
Uh,
just cut 50% of the point from anywhere and everywhere. Uh,
yes.
with neural network we are with neural networks we are actually able to build intelligent models which have an understanding of what shape it is optimizing and its overall relevance to the entire scene, how crucial it is for the entire scene. Hence it uh, identifies and allocates weights to specific areas of the scene of how important it is to be in the final output, and hence optimizes it accordingly. So for a
Interesting.
creator it saves a lot of time. Normally, if as a artist, if I spend a week building a scene, I spend 3 days after that optimizing it. So that time is saved.
Yes.
Secondly, at times it offers uh, the 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 levels of compressions which are not physically possible for creators. There have been scenes where we have been able to achieve up to 80% compressions in the overall scenes.
Wow.
So a
Wow.
sign, a space, entire scene which was around a GB in size, we were able to bring it close to 200 MBs without
Wow.
losing the realism or the visual fidelity of the scene.
Yeah. Yeah. So there I have a, something to add, that I understand, like, I mean, this automatic system is fantastic, but I think it will also give a lot of knowledge to the creators, because I know how designers work, right? First, they
Right,
build it,
right,
irrespective of taking care of, what mesh it is, how many polys, and how knots, how
correct,
many, shapes and size, whatever they're making. And then once
correct.
it's time to use that model, that's when they start optimizing based on the render engine, so to say,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Yes,
So what this could do is, this would actually tell them whenever they're making something next, on your platform, that you can
yeah,
avoid such stuff already. So it can also be a lot of a knowledge and training tool as well, I think.
exactly. And a lot of creators don't take up work at times because the
Yeah,
output is supposed to be low poly and they don't know the workflows. So
yeah,
that entire part can be automated. They just focus on the creative bit and leave the optimization to our engine.
absolutely. I think that's fantastic, and I think we've done a lot of talking around the platform. Now
Yeah,
let's try and quickly take a deep dive into the platform, see how it
absolutely.
works, what you have built. Let's see.
Absolutely. So I'll invite Kunal,
Yeah,
lead of
please.
Metaverse development, to join in and give you an experience of how you can quickly pick up a space and from the marketplace purchase it and then ship an experience ASAP.
Fantastic. Let's have a look at that.
Before we get into it, I'll just quickly share my screen to show you an example of our optimization.
Cool.
Yeah. So
All
this is
right.
one of the environments which was optimized using our engine. So spatial normally allows you something around 200, 300 MBs output to be
Yeah.
uploaded on the platform. This
Mm-hmm.
entire scene is actually quite large and very detailed in terms of the work the team has put to create it. And it was over a GB in size.
Yeah. Especially with the
Using our
animals
engine,
and the turtle shell.
exactly, that the helicopter, the animations, everything. So
Mm-hmm.
this we were able to bring down to a 200 MB output while retaining all the realism in the scene, and then ship it on spatial as a experience.
Oh, cool. Nice. And I can hear some audio as well. Like the the water sound.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry about the camera.
So yes, I'll hand it over to Kunal now. So this
Uh.
the alpha
Mhm.
version of our compression tool is live. If anyone would want to try it out, they can leave their email IDs, and we'll be happy to give them early access.
All right. So anyone listening, please go ahead and leave out your emails, either directly mail to Vikrant, or you can leave it with me, and then we can arrange that.
Perfect.
So I see some challenge with Kunal's device. It says the device is not connected. Could you request Kunal to log out and relog in? Okay. Yeah. So is the compression tool independently available as well? Okay. What happened? All right. Hi Kunal, are you there?
Yeah, let me just share my screen with you.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think there's a problem with camera. I'm unable to turn on.
That's all right. No worries. We can start like
Right.
this.
Let me just share my screen.
Yeah.
Are you able to see my screen?
I think it's coming up. Yeah. Now we can see. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So basically, in this demo, we will take a 3D scene from Converse Marketplace, and then we will use that to create an experience in Unity, and then we will export this directly to Spatial. So I am currently inside Converse Marketplace, as you can see. I can just go inside my profile and I have one model which I have purchased, which is this one,
Mm-hmm.
Digital Dreams. You can see
Mm-hmm.
this one. So you
Okay.
can directly download this and move it to Unity, which I
Uh-huh.
have done. So as you can see, this is the model. I have customized it a little bit to as per our company. So it's purple theme and also some banners you can see. There's training room, there's presentation room.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can just run this, this is Unity by the way, and I'm currently using Spatial's toolkit
Mm-hmm.
for creating templates and experiences for spatial tile. So
Mm-hmm.
after dumping this to Unity, let's just click on this text active scene. So what it will do is it will generate this scene and compress it and push it to spatial tile. Then we can just move around, interact with these other things, and let me just show you. It's almost done.
So how it works is first you buy a 3D model or object in your marketplace, then
Correct.
take it into spatial, or sorry, Unity,
Hmm.
do all the interaction work, and then from spatially, I think they have a bridge, something called as bridge,
Yeah.
which you can
Hmm.
directly transport from Unity directly to spatial, right? Instead of
Yeah.
combining as a project and then uploading it.
Correct. Correct. So we will create some interactivities. For first, let's just see how our scene is looking. So
Mm-hmm.
if I just go in, it's loading. It's completely empty right now. We have not done anything, just dumped it in, do some lighting and some posters. So as you can see now inside spatial,
Mm-hmm.
and I can move around. I can see the banners and everything. I can invite other peoples too. In this, if I push it to spatial.io, so as you can see, the scaling and everything and lighting is working fine. So we can create some interactivity on top of it. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say we have to create a game, so we
Mm-hmm.
spawn here. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say just create a game in which we have struggled to go inside this door. So what will happen is there will be some blocks that will go from left to right, and they will push you outside this scene, and you can respawn back to this place. Your task is to just fool around and go to that place. So for
Mm-hmm.
this we have this block, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
I have created this with simple 3D mesh. So what we will do is we will animate this. We can go and animate in Unity. If you know animation, it is like it's very easy. Or you just go inside this animation tab. If you don't find it, you can go to Windows Animation, and there's animation here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you just create animation here, let's just call it test. And if we do this, what you have to do is like turn on this red button. What it will do is record our every move we do. So when we are here, let's just move it here, and after a while let's move it here, and then we can just move it back after a while to the original space. We can just copy and paste
The
here.
copy paste the keys, yeah.
Yeah. So what will happen is, as you can see, this simple motion will happen. So for
Mm-hmm.
convenience, what I have done is I already created a simple game with this. So as you can see, I have this path here. So what it will happen is it will just go left, right, and then it will obstruct the player to go to the straight path. Let's just test this and see how it's looking. We
Mm-hmm.
can just go back to test active scene. It's compiling.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's a good part. So you compiling in Unity and it opens the spatial sandbox.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, So for testing purposes, we have to use the sandbox of spatial, and then we can publish it directly if it's looking good. So as you can see, the blocks are moving, and if I just stand over here,
You'll get pushed
it,
out now.
yeah, so it will push me outside, and then I have to start again.
Okay.
So I have to just like go like this.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there are other interactivity what like we can do. We can create seats inside like in this scene so that our users can, let's say this is our presentation area and we want other players to sit here. And
Mm-hmm.
let's say I'll share my screen here. So what will
Mm-hmm.
happen is the I'll show some PPT or everything, and then people can just sit here
Mm-hmm.
and they can like watch and react with scenes. So what we have to do is inside Unity, there's a if you're using special templates, it will show you this column, this block called special, and then you can just select seat hotspot, and it is currently here. So what we can do is we can just move it and place it to the right position, and our users can sit over here. So for convenience, I have created the whole set of seats, as you can see.
Yeah,
Uh,
because this will take a long time, to make sure you have so many seats
yeah,
being put in there.
yeah, true. So like what we can like, let me just refresh. Yeah, as you can see, there are multiple seats now,
Mm-hmm.
and you can sit on any one of them. And for presentation, what we'll do is we can create a projector surface here. So
Mm-hmm.
basically the same spatial, and you have to select the projector surface, this one.
Mm-hmm.
What it will do is it will whenever we share a screen, it will show you the screen exactly at that position. So as like I have set that over here. So as you can see, this is the presentation area, and we have seats, we have presentations. And for the last bit, what we can do is we can also, like, as you can see, this scene is Converse based. But
Uh-huh.
let's say if you have to like customize it, like for you have to work on a different client, or you want this to be modular, so what we can do is we can create a simple frame in
Mm-hmm.
which a user can just like we can just set a empty frame, and then user can come and put any image they want. So let's say I just create a we can go inside special again and create an empty frame. So it will spawn, mm, hopefully, yeah, here. So as you can see, this is an empty frame. Let me just put it on top of a wall.
Mm-hmm.
You can adjust according to your needs and like what size you want. So as you can see, the arrow is showing this way. So it means whenever I upload the image, it is the right position to view this image. So let's just do some tweaking. I think it's fine for now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's test this. We can go back to test active scenes.
Sure.
So yeah, as you can see, it's done. So let's just try to do this
Mm-hmm.
puzzle. And like you can see, there's an empty frame. I forgot to delete one. So let's say we have one. So what we can do is we can just click on this and we can upload any image we
Yeah,
want.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
let's
that's
say,
a easier spatial, functionality.
yes. So now we have it like placed on walls and everything. So we don't have to go inside spatial and put it and adjust it like we want. So, and the same way we have seats here. If we move to this like this way, we can just click on this and we can sit inside. And we have a projector here. So whenever I share my screen, so let's say I just share my whole screen. So
Mhm.
you can see it will show exactly here. So now
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
users can sit around, and then I can
Have
just
a look.
yeah, I can just stand here and present something to all of them. They can sorry, they can sit wherever they want, up, down, anywhere they want.
Mm-hmm.
So like this, we can create small games, interactivity, create our custom scenes, and things like this. So as you can see, I'm roaming around this room. We can create some small games over here. We can have meeting room here. We can have multiple players here. They can have a special audio so that the audio inside this, whatever they're talking, will not go outside this room. And we can create many good experiences with this. And as Vikrant said, with the optimization, we can just like there's like limitations are very high to upload a very big scenes
Mm-hmm.
in spatial now.
Oh yeah. So can you show an example of how your optimizer works? Is it possible?
Currently, I don't I don't have the access on this computer, but
Okay.
like yeah, as Vikrant said, you can just email and then can get access through it.
Oh, nice. Cool. So I think so then so what it makes is that you can take any pre-built stuff, you
Hmm.
can add interaction on top of that, and then you
Yes,
can use it. So, but if I
correct.
were to do a core change in the, say I like this the way it is
Mhm.
presented right now. But if you were to make,
Mhm.
say, instead of gray walls, brick
Mhm.
walls, like light yellow brick walls.
Yeah, yeah, we can do
So
this.
so then we'll have to go back to Unity, or I think the core structure in Max or Maya or Blender probably, where you have done
No,
all
we
these
don't.
changes and
Yeah,
then
we
okay.
don't have to go to down this way. We can
Hmm.
just we can just have Unity itself. So as you can see, these walls are selected, and I can just this is the material they are choosing. So I can go in this material. As you can see, I just change the, let's say, to reddish.
Okay. So you're saying
So
that we'll do the changes in Unity itself,
yeah,
and then okay,
as
cool.
you can see now, I can change color. I can put textures and everything to this
Hmm.
scene, and it will just customize as per my requirement. We can also add colliders and everything. So if you want to make it custom glasses and everything, so
Hmm.
this way.
Nice. I think that, so. Then it's a pretty neat and good experience. Cool. Anything else within the Converse ecosystem you want to show to us?
I
Anything
think
in particular?
I will hand over to Vikrant if he wants to like talk about anything else.
No, I think Vikrant has already left. I think he had a meeting. So
Okay, okay.
cool. So then I think we are good for the day then.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Kunal. Thank you so much for coming in, and it
Yeah,
was lovely having you here. Bye.
thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody. So that was the bit of a live experience. How easy it is. How Converse has made things very easy for anyone to go ahead. Obviously, whenever pure customization is required, that'll take a little bit of time. But even then, as Kunal was showing us earlier, you can still create some amount of customization, with Unity, and obviously you need to have Unity developers, which fortunately we have some, so that works. And also, we're going through currently we're running through the what I say, the Metaverse Marathon. We're inviting few people every day coming in to come talk about their product, what they're doing in Metaverse, how is their experience been, and yeah, and we're doing it every day at 5 p.m. in the evening India time, right? And that's 1:30 p.m. CET. So join in. We'll have another showcase, fantastic showcase coming in for tomorrow, and should be making the announcement soon. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming in. Have a lovely rest of the evening, and bye bye. See you tomorrow.